Hi, guys.
How are you?
Hello.
I'm good.
How are you?
Hi, Will. Charlie was just talking about you.
Hi,
Hi,
Charlie.
Charlie.
Can you guys hear Paul all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody's recording this, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. You hear that, Bob? Somebody's recording this, so don't say anything fresh.
So Charlie and I had this on, and I'm like, why is that light saying recording? I think I'm being recorded. I will try not to say anything fresh.
Don't say
Daughter,
anything about the
lingering in the
Tampa Bay
background.
Buccaneers.
Nothing to say. Good luck to them.
And they're going to have a better record than the Patriots this year, for sure.
We'll be all right. We had a good 20 years.
We did.
Very good 20 years.
Yeah.
Any of you guys want to comment on that?
Anybody?
He'll be back.
He'll be back.
He'll be packed to retire his jersey.
Yeah. Maddie in the morning's having a field day with him, huh? Have anybody been listening to that?
No. What's he doing?
He's talking about plastic surgery and hair, if he did his hair and all kinds of stuff.
Maddie in the morning has a field day with everyone.
Yeah, well, he's really having a field day with Tom Brady.
It's open season now. You couldn't say anything before.
Yeah. Oh.
You know what happens in Boston when you leave? It's like, I never liked that guy anyways. He wasn't that Brady kid. He wasn't that good.
Not here.
He wasn't that good.
Where are you going?
Mark.
Is that Mark?
Wahlberg goes, why is Bob on here? Mike, what's up, buddy?
What's up, Mark? How you doing?
Hey, Mark.
That's
What's going on,
Oscar.
guys? Hey, Queenie.
How are you?
How are you? Oh, I miss you.
I am doing well, thank you. How's the family?
Oh, man, they don't listen. Mike, I'm trying to coach them right now. They're playing my buddy 2-on-1. They don't know how to move without the basketball. Running themselves into a corner. I'm like, what are you doing? Pump fake, get him up in the air, pass it to your brother for a layup. They're all trying to take these terrible outside shots.
They don't know how to pass.
2-on-1. They're 2-on-1.
That is
Too funny.
Anyway, see, I don't know what I'm talking about. I learned from the best. Coach Joyce, how's everybody? Are you guys all muted? Oh no, everybody open up. Let's have a conversation here.
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That has ups and downs.
School online? Anybody still in school, out of school? What's happening?
Today was my
Cool.
last day.
Yeah. Today was the last day for a lot of people, right?
Wow, early summer. Does that mean
Mark, these are all seniors in high school, so they're going to be headed to college in the fall.
wow, congratulations. Everybody's going to college?
Of course.
Holy shit. Excuse my language.
So, hey,
Why
guys.
you really around, huh? I didn't graduate high school till I was 42. Joke. And I had to do it online. It was the craziest thing I ever had to do.
Are you guys getting on without all your senior activities? Charlie had something online last night. They did a senior video, and
That's a bummer. You guys have to find out the creative ways to celebrate with your families. I know they all must be so proud, and it's just the new normal.
Yeah.
It's crazy. No sports, no activities. I've been thinking about that, especially. To work that hard and want to celebrate that and share that with your family and your fellow students must be tough. But hopefully things will get back to normal. You guys will go on to graduate college. You'll have your proper graduation, and you'll go on to make a real impact in the world. So that's far more important, So I'm excited to hear about what all you guys are doing, what your plans are for the future, what you want to study in school. Yeah. So anybody want to go first? Quick introduction.
So Mark, can I just give you all a welcome, because we just really want to say thank you all so much for joining us today. We know that this is a busy time for all of you all, and we appreciate it so much. Like, we're super excited to get into some questions and answers. And so before we jump right into it, we do have a question for all of you all that we would love to get answered first, if that's okay. You all say that you're your mom's favorite. How can that be? And who is really her favorite?
All right, who gets to answer first? Let's go from oldest to youngest. No.
Yes.
Paul, go ahead.
I think it's Bob.
I didn't know he was going to say that. So I would just say whoever is in front of my mother at that time is her favorite. I think, at times we're all her favorite. So you know how it goes with mothers.
No.
Ma keep changing. All right, I'm going to tell the truth. It's me, and it can't be that way because it just is. She loves me the most. That's it. Go ahead, Ma.
The answer is none of us.
Donnie.
No. His name is Chef Lawrence Duran. He's 33 years old. He works with me, and my mother is absolutely head over heels in love with him.
But that's not the same thing.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it is, dude.
He's not one of her children.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The question was, who's her favorite, and how can everyone?
So she might adopt him.
Well, then that'll be another story.
Okay.
Jim's back now.
Jim's
Jim,
been
we
cooking.
want to know who's your mom's favorite.
I just told you, Donnie.
Oh, okay.
And what Bob said. Like, I FaceTime my mom from Florida twice a day, every day. And when I'm on the phone with her, I'm her favorite. And she tells me how much she loves me and how proud she is of me. And then someone calls behind her, and it's their turn to shine.
We always wanted to know who was the favorite. Who's the favorite around the Wahlberg house? Now, if you don't mind, some of the members and the junior staff from the club have some questions, if that's okay, and we could get started.
Sure.
Okay, so the first one up is Jocelyn, and she is a senior from Tech Boston, and she has a question for Bob this evening.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So my question is, living in Dorchester, how do you think your kids have benefited by being a part of Boys and Girls Clubs of Dorchester? And what valuable piece of advice would you give to the youth of Dorchester?
Oh, you just pulled right at my heartstrings. So my kids, how they benefited is, I remember when Oscar took music lessons at the club, and I was expecting to see him try something on piano, and he said, "No, Dad, I got the beat," and he did the beat with his hands, and I lost it. It's such a great community. That's what it's given to my kids, and people have said to me, why didn't you move out of Dorchester? Why? And I said, why would I move? It's been the most incredible experience to me. My kids wouldn't let me move. You guys all know my kids, I think. They're so proud to be from Dorchester. It's been fantastic. And they got from the club and from their parents and from their neighbors that sense of community and the pride in Dorchester and pride in being, from this place. And Oscar actually, Oscar, I don't know if you guys know this, but when he was 17, he said, "I want to get a tattoo." And I said, "Well, you can get it when you're 18, but think about it." And so I kept saying, "Did you think about it?" He said, "Yeah, I thought about it." He got Dorchester tattooed on his body. And I said, "Well, that seems like a kind of a thing you would just get."
Where?
On his chest. So I said to him, "I wanted you to think about this." And he said, "Dad, I did think about it. I wouldn't want anything else." So I thought that was pretty cool. It wasn't like just a spur of the moment thing. He really considered it. And believe me, he wanted to get a tattoo, and for over a year he thought about it. So my advice to anybody growing up in Dorchester is just to be part of the community, get involved. Like I know you guys do. The club does a great job. I know you're all Keystone members and all committed to the club and Northbound. And so that's what I would say, to just get involved and be a part of the community.
My advice is don't get a tattoo.
Yeah. Well, as a father, I tried, but
I had many tattoos. I had them all removed, and it's far more painful to get them removed than it is to get it on.
Wow.
Do you mind not
Thank you for the question.
My wife keeps interrupting. First of all, she wanted to point out that Bob was her favorite of my brothers.
Oh.
And,
Don't tell him.
why? And she
What?
says, I still
Hold
have
on a
tattoo.
second. Hold on a second. Raya,
Let's
Right.
not have we don't have to get into this.
we're not going down this road.
Yeah,
We'll
anyway.
save that for family Zoom meeting.
All right. I'll be Mike Joyce's favorite.
All right.
There you go.
Second favorite. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Will, who is a senior at Archbishop William, has a question from Mark this evening.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm good. My question is, what was it like growing up in Dorchester? And do people still make fun of your Boston accent?
God, I was actually, my mom took a bit of a spill, so I went and surprised her on Tuesday. And I happened to be, hotels, everything are closed, so we were staying at a friend's, and I had somebody who was not from Boston there, and he said immediately I started talking different, and then he wanted to like hear the full-on Boston accent, so we had some laughs with that. It was crazy because I was talking to random people on the street at a safe distance, of course, but I had a mask on and gloves and nobody knew who I was.
Wow.
You know, what's good that's come out of this whole quarantine thing is that I'll probably never stop wearing the mask. So that will be a tool that I'll be able to use to have a little bit more privacy. Growing up was altogether tough. You know, I made some poor choices, got into trouble, but I think those things and those events in my life allowed me to recognize and identify who the real heroes were in my life and the people that I should have been looking up to, like Mike and Bob and Queenie and Father Flavin and the people who actually cared, as opposed to the guy on the corner who had the cool car and, you know, guys who I knew that were tough guys, but they were doing the wrong thing. It's funny because I remember the story like of it yesterday. Like my brother Donnie would come to the club. And he wasn't really, I was already a member of the club. I was already playing sports. I was on the traveling team of every sport. And, you know, and then he would come and he was an athlete, but he wasn't like really like one of the guys in the neighborhood. So he'd show up with his Michael Jackson jacket on. I'm like, don't wear the jacket. Please don't wear the jacket down there. And then, you know, we're family. So we stick together. So no matter what, you know, if anything starts to happen, my brother gets into a conflict. When this day happened to be Bobo, Mike, with outside with the hockey sticks. So he's got my brother on the ground. So then I gotta fight him. And then my other friend's now fighting me. And I'm like, I told you, don't wear that Michael Jackson jacket to the club. You know? But all in all, good memories. You know, I do remember the poor choices that I made that really helped shape my life, and hopefully, you know, are the real focus that helps me to be the best parent that I can be. Being a father, being an example, you know, having felt so blessed and so fortunate to be able to achieve so much and wanting to be an example to kids growing up in communities like mine. Doesn't matter where you come from, through hard work, there isn't anything you can't accomplish. I'm amazed to see, I never knew anybody in my whole childhood or a young adult life who went to college. Now sitting here with all you guys getting ready to go off to college, coming from my same neighborhood, it's really inspiring that Mike is still there, Queenie's still there, people are still there doing the really hard, important work. And right now in this pandemic, we're seeing brave men and women putting themselves at risk to care for people who are sick and, you know, exposing themselves to this terrible you know, disease and then, you know, therefore exposing their family. So it's nice to know that the real heroes are there and are being appreciated, still doing the work, and they've inspired me. I just wish I recognized it a little bit earlier in life, but I had to go down that road, and that was why I do what I do now. So, yeah. But the accent, it was like nails on a chalkboard for people outside of Boston. So when I came to LA and I started saying, okay, I'm going to act, I had to work really hard to lose the accent. Almost to the point where I said, I'll never play a character from Boston. Now, mind you, my most successful roles and my most memorable roles are characters from Boston, whether it be The Fighter or even Ted or, you know, The Departed, Perfect Storm, all those movies going back to those kind of characters, those kind of people that people found it the most authentic and real, and therefore, you know, they'll probably be more in the future. Although when I did Spencer Confidential, the director was like, don't do a Boston accent. I'm like, well, the guy's from Boston. He's like, yeah, but we did that, or don't do it. I'm like, okay. And then when you get other people who do the accent, they don't do good Boston accents. I remember
awful.
I remember Matt Damon and I were shooting The Departed, and it was like, we just started laughing with each other. We're like, we're going to probably be the ones that sound out of place. Because everybody else, oddly enough, they sounded the same. They kind of, I don't know if they watch a couple of JFK speeches or something, and they think, yeah, that's the Boston accent. Good question, bro.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark. Trevor is a senior at Snowden High School, and his question is for Paul.
Paul, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. So what inspired you to become a chef, and what was it like opening up your first restaurant?
My first job was working in a catering company, and then I was working, my friend's dad owned a restaurant, and I was working there when the catering had slowed down, and someone literally walked by and said, hey, you're pretty good at this, you should be a chef. And I looked right at him and said, okay, and that was kind of it, and then it just triggered how much I enjoyed doing it, and I really thought about it, but then thinking back and all the time of watching my parents cook, and to really watch that, and the creativity that went into it, I knew if we had a particular item on a Sunday, I knew what the leftover meals were going to be Monday and Tuesday, and those are some of those dishes, they were the best part. Opening the first restaurant was so nerve-wracking. I was so nervous because I just wanted everything to be right, and I wanted to make any person I ever worked for, any chef that ever influenced me, my family members, everybody, I wanted them to be proud of the work that I was doing. Not so much of me, but the work that I was doing, and know that they trained me properly, that they gave me the tool to do what I'm doing. So I blame everybody else.
Paul, we just want to say thank you for being on the front line, for everybody on the front lines right now at this, time where everybody is quarantined. So thank you from all of us for sharing what you have with the community.
Well, again, for us, we all have our own blessings, and we're so fortunate. And coming from Dorchester, the pride that we have, and knowing that when we were younger, people helped take care of us. Our neighbors pitched in, and all the different places, and all the people, as Mark was, all of his influences growing up, and all of the people that we knew that helped shape us, we owe that back, and we owe it back tenfold. And so I always want to be there to try to do whatever I can to help anybody because of all the people that reached out and helped us as we were growing up.
Thank you.
Anybody hungry?
Yes.
Yeah.
Megan is a senior at Archbishop Williams, and her question is for Jim.
Hi, Jim. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. My question for you is, you have a passion for teaching youth as well as adults the dangers of using drugs. What advice would you give to the members of the Boys and Girls Club of Dorchester?
Well, first I would say just look around, right? You probably don't have to look that far to see people struggling, right? Pretty good chance the way things are now in our country and in our world, you probably don't even really have to look past somewhere in your own family to see somebody struggling now. So I would say learn from that, right? Learn, watch them, see them struggle, and know that the gamble it's just too big of a gamble, right? To even get started, right? These are, I had to learn about the stuff that I'm educating people on the hard way, right? I suffered greatly as a result of my own addictions. My family suffered greatly, right? My mother had many sleepless nights. My brothers and sisters had many sleepless nights wondering if they were ever going to see me again. So I've been blessed to find the gift of recovery and in the willingness to want to share that gift. And that's, for me, it's all God-centered, you go to Archbishop Williams. So you're getting a good Catholic education, and that's great. That's fantastic. And I think that, faith plays an important part of my desire to want to serve people. And you don't have to be a faithful person to want to be a servant, right? To serve other people. You know, you guys have the most amazing examples of people that want to serve right there at the club, right? It's a desire to create opportunity for young people, to point them in the right direction, because there's so many obstacles. And this is, you know, a lot of times I talk to kids from, you know, really affluent communities or different types of neighborhoods. Dorchester is a very special kind of place. We got a little bit of everything in Dorchester, right? We have a lot of people suffering in Dorchester and a lot of people struggling in Dorchester. And there's a real spirit of service in Dorchester as well, and people that want to help those people that are struggling. So I would say you got to be on your toes at all times, right? It could be that first one, especially now with the opioid epidemic and the stuff that they're mixing with these drugs. These drugs are not being made by scientists. These drugs are being made by drug dealers, and they don't care about your well-being, you know? So I know that was a long sort of roundabout way to say, just you got to make the right choice, right? Coming right out of the gate. This is not going to be me. And the only way you can ensure it doesn't become you is making that decision right out of the gate that I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that, right? Today, I'm not doing that. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, this senior really doesn't need an introduction, but the next senior is Mike Joyce, 40-year senior at the Boys and Girls Clubs of Dorchester. And his question is for all of you.
Hey guys, funny, Jim, you hit on that point there, and it's come up several times, but I'd say, you know, one of the biggest things about the Wahlberg family is how much they've given back to Dorchester in a variety of different ways. Why is it you think that value runs so strong throughout your whole family?
I think it's definitely something that we learned from my mom, right? And I also think when you grow up, so we all grew up in belonging to either the boys club or the Y or DYC or a different type of program. And from time to time, people that were considered successful people would come there, right? Whether it was like a guy from the Celtics or a successful business person or the mayor or whoever, and to like give out gifts or give out awards or I remember having the feeling inside of me that it wasn't so much what they were giving as much as the fact that they were giving, if that makes sense, right? Like I thought I would love to be in the position to have that kind of an impact on a kid or a group of kids or a room full of kids, right? That always, it attracted me. It was very, very attractive to me. It wasn't so much what they had or what they were actually giving us. It was their time that meant so much to me.
I would say, being from Dorchester, I think we feel a sense of responsibility, as now as adults to give back. And when I said to you guys, what advice would I give you? When I said get involved, that means get involved and then take that with you wherever you go. Mark's in LA, Donnie's in LA, Jim's in Florida, but they bring Dorchester with them. And me, still living here, I care about my quality of life and my kids' quality of life. So, I got to be involved in this community because I want to take pride in it and I want to be able to walk around and hold my head up and, have the same thing for my kids. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, well, there's a sense of pride, when you talk about Dorchester, certainly very different when I was growing up to what you guys are experiencing now. But what I still see is the same thing. It's a melting pot. Dorchester was people, but mostly people that didn't have a lot. I still never felt like I would be able to go to one of the great colleges that were right there in Boston, the home of the greatest universities in the world, right? One of the greatest school towns of all time. But now sitting here and seeing all of your faces and knowing that all of you guys are going to be able to experience that and go on and achieve all your goals and your dreams, it's amazing because so many of my friends are not alive anymore. They're still incarcerated. It's like they realize what we didn't have until we're old enough to understand it, but I really feel proud to see how successful all you guys are becoming. and changing the narrative, and gives me a lot of optimism about how wonderful the future will be there for the next generation because of the example that you guys are setting.
Kind of to echo what everyone was saying, is growing up, that was your sense of community. Be it when we lived on Buttonwood Street, we lived in Phil's Corner, we lived up in Mercier Market, and the guys living over at Savin Hill. But every part, like those neighborhoods were our community. Those people were our friends. Those people looked out for us. The adults looked out for us. I mean, when we were kids living on Mercier Ave, my dad would tell people, if they step out of line, give them a whack. And then call me, I'll give them a whack too. Because it made it clear that everybody was looking out for you. They didn't want you to go down the wrong road. They didn't want you to, so people worked hard and cared for each other. And that sense of community was really important growing up for us. And being able to have that instilled in us and what it means, and being able to give back to our home. Because Dorchester, regardless of where we are, is still I know for Bob, it's actual, but it's always in our head, it's always home.
Thanks, guys.
Viet, a senior at Latin Academy. His question is for Bob.
Hey, Bob, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, thank you. My question is, you've been in a lot of movies, right? Which one is your favorite to do?
I had a lot of fun doing, oh my goodness. Well, I just did City on a Hill, which was fun. But The Equalizer, I think I had a lot of fun there. Denzel Washington was a really nice guy.
Ari is a senior at Latin Academy, and his question is for Mark.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Good, thank you. My question is, which characters did you enjoy playing the most, like, out of all your movies?
Well, I always have a tendency to gravitate towards the true stories. Those are the movies that seem to have the biggest impact. So whether it be Lone Survivor, The Fighter, films like that. But I just did a film called Good Joe Bell, which is a true story about a young kid growing up in LeGrand, Oregon. He was openly gay. He was bullied at school to the point where he took his own life. And his dad, who I play in the film, basically spent months, locked in his room, paralyzed with depression and sadness, and then woke up one day and said he wanted to walk across the country from Oregon to New York City, where Jaden hoped to live, and wanted to talk to every single person that he met along the way about bullying and intolerance. And he made it, I think, about 7 months. He made it all the way to Colorado. The true story, like I said, I don't want to really give away the ending, but it's an amazing and powerful story, and I think it will really have a big impact later this year. Obviously, it's a very, very important topic, and I'm proud to be a part of it. But it's also learning about him, reflecting on his own childhood, and reflecting on how he could have and should have been there more for his own son, and then maybe it had as much to do at home, even though he was never abusive to his child, but as it did at school. And it's a really, really deep look into people who can be, conflicted people, and hopefully it will move the needle and make a difference in people accepting other people.
Thank you. Gregory, a senior at Boston Latin, has a question for Paul.
So Paul, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
So my question is, as someone who's typically not on camera, like your brothers, was it hard to step in front of the camera for the Wahlberg series?
First of all, if he says yes, he's a liar. Okay, he played the reluctant guy, but God, I think he...
The hardest part of it for me was trying to figure out, kind of portraying who I am. They have experience in all of it. I watched Mark in Philadelphia walk through a train station 22 times, and the director's like, gotta get it right. And it was like, he was looking for a particular thing. Watching that and seeing that and knowing that what it takes to get that job done, because I've watched Mark read and go through lines, and he knows his job backwards and forwards, and it's very difficult to try to walk in someone like that, try to walk in their shoes. But there are lots of hard moments. There was lots of fun fun moments. I had a blast. I got to work with my brothers. I got to work with my mom on a regular basis. So there were lots of really amazing pieces. I got to work with my son and my daughter, and so there was great stuff that all went along with it.
Thank you so much, Paul. Mayani is a senior at Cathedral High, and her question is for Jim.
Hi, Jim. How are you?
I'm back. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. My question for you is, as the executive director for the Mark Wahlberg Youth Foundation, what part of your work has given you the most satisfaction?
This right here. Being on here with you guys and knowing that you guys have benefited so greatly from what the foundation has been able to do, right? We started the foundation almost 20 years ago now. And the goal was, it started out just to help Father Flavin out in Brockton rebuild his gymnasium because it was the centerpiece of the community. And then my brother and I sat down and talked, and his obviously first choice for a program that he wanted to support was the Boys and Girls Club because he grew up at the club. We didn't have to look very far to when we thought about what do we want to do to try to make a difference in the world, right? Because people were there for us and made a difference in our lives. And so we only really had to look out the window and say, okay, we know who we want to impact. We want to impact communities like Dorchester. We know who the heroes are. It's Mike and Queenie and people like that, and Bob Scannell and his wife Mary and people at the club. And we know they're the ones doing the heavy lifting. And we're just trying to make their job a little bit easier. Having any kind of impact on a young person's life and trying to create opportunity for young people it's a blessing. I hope that answer. I always have long answers that go all over the place. Sorry.
We have Audra, who is a senior at Boston Latin, and her question is for all of the brothers.
Hi guys, how are you doing?
Hi, Audra.
Hi. So my question is, you have all met so many interesting people in your lives. Out of everyone you have met, who has been the most interesting and why?
Oh, that's easy. Mike Joyce. Mike Joyce is the most interesting person, and I know Mike gets embarrassed when I talk about him, but the impact that he's had on people's lives in the absolute sacrifice that he's made with his life, he lives his life to serve others. Think about that for a minute. He lives his life to serve others. That's amazing. That's incredible. That's something to emulate. That's something to want to live up to. That's something to want to, and I know there's young guys and ladies at the club that have been club kids that now work at the club, and they're on the same path because that example was set for them, right? Mike, I always talk about Mike in particular because, Mike doesn't punch a clock, right? Mike doesn't come in at 8 and leave at 4 or whatever, right? Mike wakes up in the morning, he's on the clock until he goes to sleep, and then his phone still might ring, and he'll get up and he'll do what he's got to do to serve the kids. And so Mike is the most interesting person I've got to meet.
I know we've been serious in tone here. I would say Mike is the most solid, dependable, reliable, interesting. The same sweatshirt on.
So the most interesting guy I met is similar in a way. He started a program called My Brother's Keeper in Easton, Mass, and his name is Jim Orcutt. He's a totally selfless person, and started out of his own basement supplying furniture to people, and now they're really focused on giving food to people during this crisis.
For me, any of the people who come and work in the restaurants that want to make this their life, because when you watch and see the development and the growth of people in this restaurant, especially over in Dorchester and the Dorchester location, those are people from our own town that I get to work with. I get to hear their stories, and they talk about the streets that they live on and the neighborhoods that they live in. And I know those neighborhoods, and I know those streets, and I know those situations. And so to talk to them, they inspire me to keep
No movie stars or anything in there. Oh, Mark hasn't answered yet. Go ahead, Mark.
I honestly, I don't know. I can't, I've met so many people along the way, and from so many different walks of life. I could pick one of 500 18-year-old kids that I met in Afghanistan that decided to go into a recruiting office and sign up to defend our country, despite whether they believed in, Republican politics or Democratic politics. Who was calling the orders? They were going to serve their country, and they were sitting out there. How many thousands of miles away from home in the middle of a war zone, and they were there, and just I was in awe of every single one of them. So I'd have to say anybody who's serving their country, their community, you look now, people who are literally leaving home, doctors, nurses, they're leaving homes to go to hospitals and know that they could be infected, and yet they're out there helping people, But I would have to say, I've never been more blown away than spending time at Camp Leatherneck and Kabul and flying there and spending real time with kids over the Christmas holiday, knowing how far they were for their family. A lot of them paying the ultimate sacrifice. That's pretty remarkable stuff.
We just truly want to say thank you all so much for being so generous with your time and all the support that you give to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Dorchester. We always close our Dot Talks with, during this pandemic, we've had to all quarantine and, live life a little different. When this is all over and we go back to our new normal, what's the first thing you want to do that you haven't been able to do?
Oh, I want to go to a movie theater, sit beside people and laugh and cry. I want to hug people. I want to go to church and worship together. I want to have human connection and contact. I want to experience, I want to come to the club. I want to show you guys the film that I just told you about. I want to connect with people again. I want to go to the gym and work out with somebody who's never worked out before yet. It's going to change his or her life, and it's the first day of their fitness journey. I want to experience life again with people and that human connection.
Yeah, so I would start with, I want to hug my mother. I go to work every day and I don't want to bring anything into my, that's a scary situation. So I like to stand far away from her and just, we talk. And the other part of that is, just today I saw a dear friend of mine who reached out his hand to me. And I felt guilty putting my elbow out, and he was like, oh, and I said, I got to go see my mother or my kids or my wife. So I look forward to doing that again, hugging people like Mark said, and, interacting and we miss that. Zoom is great. I'm doing a lot of Zoom things, meetings and seeing people, but obviously we know it's not the same. I want to be able to, get back to normal and we like to give hugs. So
as quickly as possible, they come up with a vaccine because people are really living in fear now. I'm in my own home every day. If I sneeze, I have bad allergies, right? So it's allergy season. If I sneeze or I cough, I'm getting a thermometer stuck on my forehead. I'm getting put in the basement. I'm it's I do this.
The wives don't mess around.
I say that because when I walk in the house, wash the hands, get the temperature taken every single day, and getting back to going out and sitting in a restaurant and having a meal and being around people and being around people that you care about, that you can't see, and especially when you think about all of the things that have been limited, just everything that we took for granted has been taken away. And so getting that back and getting that back and figuring out how we don't find ourselves in this type of situation again is going to be important, but also really making sure that we appreciate the people that we've missed in these times, the people that you can't go and see, the people that normally you would be able to, do a favor for, just say hello, have a cup of coffee with, just enjoy yourself. Getting back to that and watching my kids, my son and daughter being able to live their lives, to see my mom be able to go outside and walk around and not be in fear that she may catch something. So I think all of those things, it's nothing major.
Thank
Say hi to Gracie, guys.
Hi, Gracie.
Gracie.
How are you?
Gracie just got a new hobby horse. It's coming. What'd you name it? Tell him.
Marky Mark.
That's a good one, Grace.
Let him say hi to Champ. Everybody knows who Champ is now. He's gonna start growling, but look at Champy. Say hi.
Hi, Champ. Oh, he's a cutie. He's a cutie.
It's like a doll.
Until he bites you.
I don't need to find out.
Oh my God.
Tim, is there anything you like to do when we go back to the new normal that you haven't been able to do?
Oh man, well, there's so many things that you can't do that you just took for granted, you know. I too look forward to being able to go and worship with my faith people, you know. I have a great group of men in my life down here in Florida that we met through our faith, and we belong to a retreat group, and we can't do that. We can't. We had a retreat scheduled for a couple of weeks ago, and we had 35 men prepared to go on this retreat, and we can't do that. So it's like I'm excited to definitely to hug people again, because I'm a big hugger, as Queenie, you're very aware. I love to hug. I love people. You know, I just want to interact with people again. I don't want to, you know, like granted today, I played golf today. It was the craziest, like, you know, everybody's wearing masks. Everybody's in their own golf cart. Everybody is, and there was a guy that was playing. He's also from Boston. He lives in Miami in the wintertime, and he's a close talker. He kept coming up on me like this, you know, getting real close to me. And I kept backing away when he was trying to talk to me. And I don't know, I felt guilty about that. I felt weird about it, but I wasn't going to stop backing away. And it's not even that I'm afraid. It's just, I almost tried to just signal him so he doesn't do it to somebody else. But I just miss people. I just miss interacting with people and being close to people. And I miss going to the supermarket without a mask on. You know, I like the people at the supermarket. I like to talk to people. I try to be a people person. It's just weird. The whole interaction is just bizarre. So yeah, I just miss the people.
Yeah. This has been so great. Do you all have any questions for us?
I have a lot of questions, but time. I was supposed to be, I thought about 20 minutes, and I was just having such a good time here that now I have another call that starts in about 4 minutes. I've got to do something with these ones here. And so I look forward to seeing all of you guys soon. I'll come visit you guys at the club. Like I said, I love to show you guys the film that I'm working on. I love to find out what you guys are going to study, and, you know, what you're going to do in the future, and what your plans are to kind of give back and continue to inspire kids, you know, the next generation of kids growing up in Dorchester. But I am so proud of all of you and can't wait to hear about all the great things you're going to do. And Mike, Queenie, Patricia, you guys know how much I love all you guys and appreciate you guys and all that you do. I look forward to seeing you guys soon.
Well, we thank you so much, Mark, for spending this time with us. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Stay safe.
Bye, Mark. I got a question for you guys. You're all high school seniors, and I know it's been a real tough year for you guys, and you can't celebrate enough, and you can't, like, I know your families are so proud of you, and you know, we're all going through this with you, right? Because my daughter, I know, and you guys have all shed tears, you know, and been so upset, and, you know, it breaks my heart. You guys really earned all the stuff you should be doing right now, but you guys can brag a little bit about yourselves if you don't mind before you go. Just, could you all tell me what schools you're going to?
Do you want me to start? I'll start with Audra.
I'm going to UMass Lowell for marketing.
All right, very good.
Mayani?
I haven't decided yet. I have till June 1st, but I'm going between Merrimack and Providence College.
Two great choices. Congratulations.
Gregory?
Yeah.
I'm going to Northeastern University for engineering.
What a great school. Good for you, buddy.
Ari?
going to Wentworth for civil engineering.
I went to Wentworth. Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Viet?
Going to Fitchburg for fitness management.
Very good. Good luck.
Thank you.
Mike Joyce?
Undecided.
Yeah.
Excited.
Me too.
Megan?
I'm going to Regis College for nursing.
Very good. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
Trevor?
you.
I'm going to UMass Lowell for computer science and theater.
Very good.
Will?
I'm going to Merrimack for high school education.
Very
And
good.
Jocelyn?
I'm going to Leslie University for psychology.
Awesome. I'm proud of you guys. That's, I know it took a lot of hard work from you and your families to get there. So congratulations.
Yeah, these guys are all superstars. They're really amazing kids. So we're all proud of them.
Yep. And Bob, we thank you so much for your time and your talents. We just want to say thank you from all of us at the Boys and Girls Clubs of Dorchester.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. And
Thank you.
you guys did a
Thank
really
you.
good job with the question.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Paul, thank you as well.
All right, you're so
Thank you, Paul.
I miss my tater tots. I'll be back when the
You can
doors
still get
open.
them. Uber Eats
we're doing curbside takeout.
or Uber Eats.
I'll be ordering supersize. Thank you. We
All right,
love you
guys.
guys so much, and we thank you and appreciate you.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Be safe, everybody.
Yes, have a good one. Stay safe.
Thank you,
All
Bob.
Thank you.
See you
And
guys.
be safe.